A very warm welcome to all in joining us for our fourth installment in the interview series conducted by the College of Chemical Sciences, Institute of Chemistry, Ceylon. These interviews, produced by the Media Circle of College of Chemical Sciences, aim to highlight the incredible journey of prominent scientists in the field of chemistry in hopes to inspire young emerging scientists. I am Mithuni Jayasinghe. I have with me here Pevindra Rathnayake. We are fourth year undergraduates at the College of Chemical Sciences and members of the Media Circle. For this interview, we have with us a dynamic scientist all the way from University of Canterbury, New Zealand. He is none other than Professor Richard Hartshorn. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and for being with us here today. So to start off, could you please tell us a little bit about your childhood, your days at school, and your life at university as an undergraduate?
All right, I was going back. I'm quite old now, so you're asking me to remember quite a long time ago. But anyway, as a child, I think I come from a family of boys, so I have three brothers, and we spent a lot of time playing cricket in the backyard and at other times. And cricket was one of the things that I took quite seriously, probably even more so than schoolwork, actually. And I was quite good at cricket, actually. In the end, the highest level cricket I played was New Zealand under 19, which is reasonably high level, I think. For those of your audience who know a little bit about cricket, I will tell them that at one point I actually got Mark Taylor out and I played against the War Brothers. So you know, they are names who mean something to cricketers. And that tells you that I was actually reasonably good at the game. One of the things that happened during that time was that many of the good young cricketers were actually given training as coaches. So we got coaching qualifications, and I spent my holidays as a high school student coaching primary school students at cricket. So we had cricket weeks where primary school children in their holidays would come along and they would spend their week playing cricket and being coached in cricket. And at that point, I discovered that really I quite liked teaching people things. And that was therefore going to be what I really wanted to do. And it became a question of, okay, what was it I was going to teach and at what kind of level? And by following things through, I discovered that actually things like mathematics and chemistry went reasonably easily with me, and I quite enjoyed doing them. And ultimately, I've got the cool job of teaching undergraduates and also doing scientific research, all wrapped up in one neat package, which is pretty much the ideal for me. So that and the work that I've done has meant that I've also managed to connect with people internationally. So I've had a lot of enjoyment from meeting people of all kinds of background, like yourselves indeed. And through my years, I have met up with a number of distinguished Sri Lankans, such as Rathnayake, whom I think you probably know. So you can say you've said hello to me and ask her to remember the fact that we started our PhDs together on the very same day. So you know, we go back a long way.
It was really surprising, so when we heard for the first time also that you had played cricket, and for someone who is such a high end at research, so interested in sports, like it's really inspiring as well. So Professor Raman is actually our dean, and we will pass your message to her. So Pevindra?
Yes. So listening about your early days and presently knowing about your contribution to chemistry is truly inspiring. Many researchers narrow down their researchers into a very, very specialized area, but I saw great diversity and versatility in your research work. What's the reason behind this?
Oh, well, it's because I like dealing with problems and helping people with their problems. So I think one of the things that inspires many scientists is just curiosity about how things work and what you can do better. And if people come to me and ask me questions about chemistry or chemical aspects of what they're doing, I'm very happy to get engaged with that and to help them out with it. So, for example, I had a couple of colleagues in our speech language therapy area come and talk to me about some issues they were having around a technique that they have that involves cough testing. Cough testing is important as part of swallowing dynamics and all these kinds of things that are apparently important in speech language therapy. And one of the issues they were having was that they were using citric acid solutions as a way to trigger coughing, and they were wanting to explore how consistent the cough response was and whether they needed to bear that in mind. And so they came to talk to a chemist to ask about what was going on. And what became clear was that it wasn't quite as simple as what they were saying, in the sense of just how much citric acid, because as they were thinking about the concentration of the citric acid and consequently the pH, they were completely ignoring the fact that saliva has a significant buffer capacity, and that different patients will have produced different amounts of saliva, and that actually probably what they needed to do was to control for that in some way. And we spent some time exploring these possibilities and trying to understand a little bit more about the detail of the process. And there have been other similar sorts of things happen where people have come to me and asked, and we've just carried on doing that, doing what needed to be done to address the question.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very detailed answer. So curiosity, that's the ultimate.
Well, yeah, if you want a one-word answer, I mean, one of the things about university professors is that they will tend to answer a question in about 50 minutes. So yeah, curiosity is a very good one-word answer for what I just talked about. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Mithuni.
So, sir, as a dynamic researcher in the fields of anti-cancer drug design, bio-inorganic chemistry, coordination chemistry, inorganic photochemistry, and so on, what was the research project that is closest at heart for you, and what made it so special?
Well, it's hard to pick out particular things, partly because I'm actually easily satisfied by anything that scratches the curiosity itch, if you like. But my PhD was in cobalt chemistry, and after I did that, I did a postdoctoral fellowship with Professor Jackie Barton at Caltech, and was doing ruthenium chemistry. And so, in a way, the cancer drug research that we're doing, where we are making heterodinuclear metal complexes which contain both ruthenium and cobalt, that is in a way one of my favorite pieces of work, because of the fact that it manages to use both of my favorite metal ions. And we have the challenge of putting them together in a molecule which may in the end have some use. Very probably won't, because only a very tiny fraction of drugs are actually ever successful. But we're having some fun making the things, and going to be interested to see how they behave.
Thank you for sharing that with us, sir.
So you have currently been serving as a Secretary General of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. We are interested in knowing your journey. Can you please, how did you propel into that field, and how has it been going so far?
Oh, well, first off, I have to say it's important that you do your nomenclature right. I mean, this is what IUPAC cares about, right? But IUPAC does much more than just nomenclature. Having said that, it's actually nomenclature that got me into IUPAC. So we were making a range of cobalt complexes and with polydentate ligands, and we needed a way to describe the chemistry that we were doing, or at least the structures of the products we were making. And the current nomenclature didn't do that very well. So we invented some, and wrote up the system that allowed us to describe these structures using this nomenclature system. And soon after that, actually, I was doing a lecture tour. Well, actually, it was kind of a round the world lecture tour. And I think I included Colombo actually on that trip. But later on in that trip, I was in Copenhagen. And it turns out that one of the people who was involved with IUPAC nomenclature worked for a company in Copenhagen and regularly got the seminar notices for the Department of Inorganic Chemistry at Copenhagen University. And very soon after he had happened to read the paper that I'd written on nomenclature, he noticed the seminar notice that had my name on it. And so this accident of timing meant that he basically rang me up at Copenhagen University and said, we should talk. And so we did. And the end result of that was that I got invited to join the committee that was working on inorganic nomenclature at the time. And that sort of carried on. I got more and more involved in nomenclature and was for a while president of the Division of Chemical Nomenclature and Structure Representation within IUPAC. They liked what I did, or seemed to appreciate the way I ran things in that division, and was therefore asked or voluntold or something to actually elected, but it was about putting my name forward and then being elected. To be Secretary General, and I've been doing that for just over 6 years now. I've less than 2 years to go, and then I'm a free man again. I can do some other things. Actually, what I'd like to do is go back to doing some of the nomenclature, because there's some very interesting nomenclature problems that I have been a bit involved in working on, but have not been able to commit as much time to that because of my Secretary General work. So I'm going to have some nomenclature fun. Yeah, it is true. You can have fun doing nomenclature, just so you know.
Well, it's surprising and amazing how some things work out, like meeting people, and it's amazing how that happens. So thank you so much for that answer, sir. I think we can learn something from it as well. How life plays out, you never know.
Yeah, well, what it says is, as long as you're lucky, it's good, right?
Yes.
Or take advantage of the luck that comes your way. I
think
that's probably
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the next question, Mithuni.
And for most of us, I'm sure not everyone really shows a very great interest into nomenclature. So it's probably a good sign to show more interest into it. So yeah, as a Secretary General of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, you must have worked on numerous projects and must have had the privilege of meeting many impressive scientists along the way. So sir, can you share some memorable experiences that you have with special people that you have met along the way?
Well, I think actually the most memorable one is one that wasn't really tied to me being Secretary General. When I was at Caltech as a postdoc, I played some of the social softball. It was a very common sort of thing. Each of the research groups had a softball team, and we did that sort of stuff. I had a certain degree of notoriety because I played softball without a glove, partly because I was quite good at the cricket, and so I found it easier and more effective to catch balls and so on without having a glove to get in the way. And one of the other groups and teams we played against was that of Bob Grubbs. So Bob Grubbs, he was a keen participant in his group's softball team, and for a variety of reasons, we got to know each other in that way. And some years later, when I was an academic, I'd been an academic, I guess, here at Canterbury for about 10 years. So we have a fellowship scheme that allows us to invite distinguished chemists from overseas to come and teach our students and so on. And I suggested that I could maybe persuade Bob Grubbs to come and visit, and everybody was very keen on that because he was already a very extremely well-known scientist, and the prospect that I might be able to get him along was viewed very positively. So I invited him, and he accepted. He's very keen on tramping. He was very keen on tramping, actually, and so coming to New Zealand was something that really fitted nicely with some of his other things that he wanted to do. But he was here in September and October of 2005. And he was actually here when it was announced that he was being awarded the Nobel Prize. So he got the Nobel Prize, or shared the Nobel Prize for chemistry in 2005. It was a tremendously exciting time in our chemistry department here, because I mean, we'd never had quite that level of connection And it meant, I think, that Bob Grubbs felt an extra special connection to the University of Canterbury because of the importance of the timing. That he was woken up one night here at sort of 2 a.m. by the Nobel Prize Committee calling from Stockholm to say, look, they were going to announce his prize. And yet, so he was then up doing media and so on for some hours, but he still turned up at 9 o'clock in the morning to give a fourth year lecture to our students, only a few hours after hearing that he'd won the Nobel Prize. And I might add, he had a slightly larger audience than normal, and everybody was incredibly happy. And we had, he then gave his first public lecture as a Nobel laureate at Canterbury, and there were numerous parties, and generally we had an extremely good time. And I'm pleased to say that he continued to be a friend of the department and visited several more times. I suppose partly to relive some of that, partly to pay us back for the fact that he couldn't finish his fellowship because he had to return to Caltech in order to do all the stuff that needed to be done by a brand new Nobel laureate. And so he came back a couple more times to teach us some more and to generally interact with us and to have a good time as friends. So yeah, I think that's probably the highlight of the sorts of things that I, in terms of people met in my time.
Sure should be, so especially to meet a Nobel laureate. So it's not
a brand new Nobel laureate. I mean, I think that's the special bit. I mean, lots of people have met Nobel laureates because you go to conferences and they're there and so on. But
yes,
to have somebody who's only just found out, that's a little bit more special, I think, and I think that's why everybody so enjoyed it so much, and it's made such a big impression on so many of us.
That's true, sir. That's true. So, Pevindra?
Yes, sir. So, as a scientist, you must be well acquainted with challenges and failures. So what makes you do better every day? What motivates you to do better every day? And what keeps you going despite the challenges?
Oh, well, partly it's that curiosity word, right?
Yeah.
But I think also maybe I've had more of an advantage having my past with cricket, actually. I think dealing with the luck that comes in sport, and in competitive sport, team selections and all that sort of stuff, you have to learn how to cope with adversity in various ways. And I think that's one of the true benefits of doing team sport, is that it actually does it allows you to experience these disappointments and to understand that however disappointed you must be, you owe it to your teammates to sort of put that behind you and move on. And it's the same kind of thing when you reach adversity in academia and so on. There are going to be things that don't go well. You have bad luck in the exam because whoever was writing the exam happened to choose the one bit that you didn't really revise quite so well, or something like that. I mean, we've all had that happen. I can see the look on your faces that you've definitely had the occasional exam which has been a bit like that, right? You just have to move on past that and to understand that meeting those challenges and getting over them and past them makes you a stronger person. And the more you're able to meet challenges and work through them, you understand that actually that work is valuable. It's a valuable experience and creates a resilience in you that allows you to cope with adversity in the future. So, however hard it might be at the time, there is a silver lining to that cloud, that you will benefit from being challenged and occasionally maybe failing or finding it very difficult, and that's actually a good thing in terms of being ready for your future, because it's not all going to be sweetness and light. Some things are going to not go so well, and understanding how that can happen and what you have to do in terms of, I suppose the thing about getting back on the horse, right? That you need to get back on the horse when the horse has thrown you. If your academic life has thrown you in some way, you need to get back on and try it again and put it down to experience and try and do better next time.
Thank you so much for those words. I think personally, I and the viewers will also enjoy that and we'll get something out of it. So Mithuni?
So you gave us so many advices all throughout this interview. Like each and every question had some valuable advice for us to take from. So we have come towards the end of the interview, and finally, sir, I would like you to ask if there is any other message that you would like to give us younger graduates starting off their career, or any advice that you have to give to anyone starting their career.
My advice is to find what you enjoy, and do the stuff that gives you pleasure. And I really hope it's if you're training to be an academic, you're doing academic things, that you get pleasure out of doing those academic things, and you should keep on doing it. I would say, you know, if you're not enjoying it, you should probably try and find something that you do enjoy, because life is really long, and hopefully you will have a really long life, and life will be so much better if you're enjoying what you're doing. I think I've probably made it clear that I enjoy what I do. I get the tremendous pleasure of working with young people and trying to open their eyes to the future and to show them new stuff in chemistry and general life skills. And I found my niche, the bit that gives me the buzz. I was very fortunate, I guess, that I learned early what I wanted to do in terms of the teaching sort of side of things. Each of you needs to find what it is that gives you that buzz, the thing that makes you want to go in the next day and do it all again, however bad it might have been the previous day. You know, the enjoyment that you get is the important bit, and you need to try and find ways to keep on enjoying things. So there's my moral for the day. The key advice is enjoy yourself and find the thing you enjoy and pursue that.
Thank you, sir. You have to enjoy what you do, like
Absolutely.
do what you love and love what you do.
Yes.
So that's a really great advice.
You put that very well, and much shorter and more effectively than I did. So once again.
But so each and every word of what you said was really appreciated. So so we have come to the end of the interview, and we really appreciate the time that you gave to us. So, and with that, we conclude our insightful session with Professor Richard Hartshorn. So thank you very much for your time. And it was an enormous privilege and honor to interview you as undergraduates in chemistry. So we are truly inspired by your groundbreaking research in your expertise. And also we hope that everyone who participated with this interview is inspired too. With that, be sure to stay posted on more interviews with eminent scientists in the future with the Media Circle of College of Chemical Sciences.
Yep. Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course.
I'm very fortunate to have a very good Sri Lankan PhD student at the moment. And if there are any more out there like her, you're very welcome to contact me, and we'll see how we go.
Thank you so much, sir. We will surely do that.